All right, and we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames, and this is Episode 6. Yes, welcome to the Stanley Cup Playoffs for the first time as in our tenure as GM of the Calgary Flames. In our first season, we go on and defend the Pacific Division, winning our second straight Pacific Division title, and now we have a date with the Vancouver Canucks in the NHL's Western Conference. So yes, welcome to episode number 6, the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs here in the year of 2020. The Calgary Flames, as you can see, like I said, are the first place team in the Pacific. I'll show you that in the standings in a second. This is just a quick look at our matchup coming up here, as we do have the Vancouver Canucks here coming up first. But yes, the Flames finishing first place in the Pacific Division. Let's click here and get a look at that standings. Now we're also going to look at Vancouver's team here in this episode. Break down their team a little bit. That's what I wanted to show you. There it is. First place in the Pacific Division. Calgary Flames finished with 105 points, a record of 49, 26, and 7. Like I said, good enough for first place in the Western Conference. And I believe we finished just second place in the entire league. Yes, we did. The Calgary Flames tied with the Florida Panthers, but technically we don't have more wins than them, so somehow we have more row wins. No, we are tied with row wins as well. I don't know what the tiebreaker is, but we're tied with Florida technically for second in the NHL, and just looks like about 9 points back there of the Boston Bruins for the President's Trophy. So much like last year, where the Calgary Flames actually did really well. They finished second in the NHL, first in the Western Conference, but they fell short to an Eastern Conference team for the President's Trophy. Last year it was the Tampa Bay Lightning. This year it is the Boston Bruins. But yes, you can see there that the Calgary Flames, number 1, will take on the number 8 seed, the Vancouver Canucks, who just happen to be from our division. The Canucks stealing one of the wild card spots in the Pacific Division. You can see right there, taking the only Pacific Division wild card spot. The other one going to the Central Division, the Minnesota Wild. Big story in the last episode was quite a few big teams missing the playoffs. Nashville, St. Louis among them. In the Pacific, San Jose missing, as well as Vegas. And in the Eastern Conference, there's a few big teams as well that missed. Let's just go down. Tampa, obviously, Toronto, and it looks like Montreal possibly could have made it, but it was Tampa, Toronto were the big ones there out of the East. So I just wanted to look at that quickly. Actually, I do want to go back in there, because let's jump right into the Vancouver Canucks. They are our first round opponent, so we will get through the first round in this episode. But let's just take a quick look out at the Vancouver Canucks, because that is who we are playing. So they finish, like I said, 8th in the Western Conference, 4th in the Pacific Division. 36, 32, and 14 record gets them 86 points. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. 86 points in the Pacific Division. You can see that. Let's go by league here, so we can just see how they did in the whole NHL standings. So let's go by goals for first. So we know we were a top team. We finished 3rd behind Edmonton and Boston. Where are the Vancouver Canucks? Let's see how far we have to go down to find the Canucks. So there they are. It looks like they are possibly in the second half. So let's go by least amount of goals for. It looks like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. So they're actually in the top half. I thought they were in the second half. So about mid-league. That's not bad. That's about average for a 8 seed team that makes the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they're averaging 2.98 goals for a game. So their offense is getting the job done, but it probably could be better. Still getting the job done, good enough to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. Where do they sit in goals against? So the most goals against the LA Kings there. Let's go to least amount of goals against. We finished 3rd. Where are the Vancouver Canucks? Are they about middle of the pack as well? And they're down there, so they're actually in the bottom half when it comes to goals against. So again, 8, 9, there they are, 9th in the NHL. 9th worst, I should say. 9th worst for goals against. So this has been their biggest problem here. They're averaging 3.09 goals against a game. They are the only other team in the bottom half, other than the Edmonton Oilers, to make the playoffs and be in the bottom half of the goals against category. So that is their weakness. Is they obviously don't have maybe sufficient goaltending, or just not playing sound defense. Let's take a look quickly at their power play, operating at 15%. Again, there is us at 4th in the NHL. Their power play operating at 15%, is one of the worst in the league. So yeah, they are about 8th from the bottom in power play, so they're not getting it done there with the PP and the PK for them, 83.9%. So that is good enough for top half here. Yeah, they're about 10th in the league when it comes to PK. So their PK is getting the job done. The power play is struggling. They are struggling to, but they're not struggling to score goals. They are struggling, however, defensively, as they are letting in probably not the amount of goals you want out of a playoff team. So that's just a quick look at their team stats there. Just wanted to go through that quickly. Actually, I do want to dive right into their lines. So first, what we're going to do is look at their stats. Now, we looked at ours in the last video, so we're not going to go through our stats. We looked at everything at the end of that last video there in episode 5, I believe it was. So let's just look at the Canucks here in this one. Where are they here? Vancouver Canucks. So yes, they're led by Elias Pettersson, of course, their superstar centerman there. 29 goals, 48 assists, 77 points for Elias Pettersson. There in is this his second or third season? I can't remember with Pettersson. Second season, yeah. So this is his sophomore season. So he does do a little bit better there than his rookie season. Just one more goal than his rookie season. About 10 more points there, or 11 points more than his rookie season with a 77. Yeah, and then you can see there's Bo Horvat, the captain, 65 points there, just hits the 20-goal plateau. JT Miller hitting the 20-goal plateau with 61 points. 54 points for Brock Besser through 82 games, also hitting the 20-goal plateau. Michael Ferland hits the 20-goal plateau, 24 in fact, with 46 points for the former Flame. Tanner Pearson coming in close to 20 goals and close to 50 points. So you can see their offense is actually quite spread out. So like I said, they're not struggling to score, and this is why, because they have a very spread out offense, kind of like we do. So we match up very similar to them. They're not a top-heavy team offensively. They're quite spread out, as you can see. Beagle here, Myers, Edler. So it's just very well spread out. Josh Levo. We're getting into their third-line players down here. So I mean, they don't have any big superstars that win a point a game, other than maybe Elias Pettersson, who did hit the 70-point plateau. But other than that, quite spread out down here when it comes to offense. Just look quickly at their plus-minus. Edler led them in the plus category. Tyler Myers, Michael Ferland down there in the bottom category. I just want to look at their goaltending now. And they are led by Jacob Markstrom, who went 9-1-4 through 68 games. So his record 30, 24, and 12, 9-1-4, 283 goals against. Thatcher Demko did not play a lot. Markstrom almost playing 70 games there. I don't even think we got Riddick to 70 games. I think Markstrom might have just played a few more games than Riddick. We'll take a look at that. But Thatcher Demko coming in at 18 games, 6-9-2, 6-9-2, excuse me, for a 8.85 save percentage. So Demko struggling quite a bit this season as a backup. That's probably why they did not give him a lot of games there, as he did not have a good season at all. So they're relying heavily on Jacob Markstrom. So let's just take a quick look at their lines now. Actually, I just want to look at what David Riddick played, because Markstrom played 68 games. Why do I keep going there? Let's go to our goaltending. So Riddick played 63 games. So yeah, just a few less, 5 games less than Markstrom, and Talbot played a few more games there, about 5 games more than Thatcher Demko did in the crease. So the difference in the goaltending is we both have a legit starter. They have Markstrom. Obviously, we have Riddick. Sorry, I'm struggling. Riddick and we both have backups, but our backup, we can trust Talbot to get the job done, our backup, whereas they can't really with Thatcher Demko. Okay, let's look at their lines here. So this is what I want to get into. So this is how we match up against them. This is what they're probably going to throw at us in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Obviously, they might make line changes as we go, but this is probably what we're going to see here. So JT Miller on the top line, 84 overall. Elias Pettersson, 87 overall in the middle. And Brock Besser on the wing there, 86 overall. Not a bad top line there. Obviously, Pettersson and Besser anchoring that line. JT Miller coming in on the left side. Then you can see Michael Ferland on the second line, 82. Bo Horvat, 87. So they got 2 pretty elite centermen down here in the middle. Josh Levo coming in. A little weak on the two wings there with Ferland and Levo. These guys are probably third liners at best, but they got a pretty decent second line centerman. And then their bottom 6 gets a little weak down here. Tanner Pearson, 80. Brandon Sutter, 79. Jake Virtanen, 80. Nikolai Goodobin, 79, Jay Beagle, 79, and Tyler Mott at 78. So not too bad down here. I think kind of again, very similar to how we're constructed. We're constructed with a pretty spread out offense as well. I mean, we do have slightly better players in our top six than they do. But again, the difference was we finished first. They finished eighth in the Western Conference. Looking at their defensemen here, Alexander Edler at 83 and Tyler Myers at 83, excuse me. And then Quinn Hughes at 80, Troy Stetcher 81, Louis Eriksson. What is Louis Eriksson doing on the point? That is so weird. So they must have an injury because for some reason they are playing Louis Eriksson on their point, which is never a good idea with Louis Eriksson. Jordy Ben coming in there at 79 as well. That's really strange that they would not call up a defenseman instead of paying playing Louis Eriksson. So for obviously first look here at their defensive core, quite weak. You can see their top two defensemen are only 83 overall. Those guys are probably second line defensemen or second pairing defensemen at best. I think Hamnick is an 83. Again, we'll look at our lines here in a second, but not the best defensive core down here. Again, they are struggling they're struggling to defend, excuse me, and so this is probably a big reason why. We looked at Markstrom. Markstrom had all right numbers, so it's probably the defensive core here that is just not getting the job done. That's why they were in the bottom half of goals against. Just look at their special teams really quickly. We'll just look at their power play because again, their power play is struggling. Horvat, Pettersson, Miller, Besser, Hughes on their top unit, and then Pearson, Beagle, Ferland. So they don't have a super dangerous power play either. The top unit's somewhat dangerous with Horvat, Pettersson, and Besser, but other than that, it's not too dangerous looking. Quinn Hughes, don't know what he's done this year, but I guess we forgot to look at Quinn Hughes, but let's just quickly look at him. Just want to see how he did in his rookie season. So yeah, 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points there through 82 games. So not the best rookie season, but of course he's still going to get better. Top 6 defenseman, elite potential. He's going to be a good defenseman one day for them. And just quickly looking at their goaltending situation, there's Jacob Markstrom, 85 overall. So he is one better than David Riddick, who is at 84. Thatcher Demko an 80. So again, we have the better backup. They have a slightly better starter, but the way Riddick's been playing, it could be probably pretty even in the goal crease. We definitely have them beat in the defensive category, and I think the offense, we have them beat as well, but they are constructed very similar to our offense. So again, looking at our offense here, Johnny Gaudreau 90, Sean Monahan 90, Elias Lindholm 86, a much much more lethal top line, and then Kachuk there 85, Backlund 84, Max Domi, the acquisition we made in episode 4, 86. So that really puts us over the top. I forgot about the acquisition of Domi. That makes our top 6 a lot more lethal than what they have in their top 6. And then we still have a pretty deep bottom 6 just like them. We have Mangiapane, Jankowski, Frolik, Bennett, Ryan, and Lucci, all high 70s, except for Frolik, who is an 82. So our bottom 6 is just as good as their bottom 6. Our top 6 is way better than their top 6, excuse me. Our defense, again, looking at here, 89, 84 in Giordano Brody, 86, 85 in Hanifin, excuse me, 83 in Hamnick. There we go. And 81 in Valimaki and 82 in Rasmus Andersson. So again, their best defenseman was an 82, and that was Alexander Edler. So I mean, one of our worst defensemen, I wouldn't even call him our worst defenseman, but one of our least rated defensemen is an 82, and that's Rasmus Andersson. And we only got one defenseman below an 82. That's Juuso Valimaki, and that's our 2 young guys that we're trying to grow down here. So we have them definitely beat in the defensive category. There's no doubt about it. And then just looking at our special teams, I might show you that quickly as well. Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Kachuk, and Giordano getting the job done. Again, we're sitting pretty good when it came to the power play, to the penalty kill, to offense, to defense. There's not a lot wrong with our team right now. That's why we finished first in the West. That's why we finished second in the league. So there's not a lot that needs to be changed around here on our lines from the regular season. So we're obviously not going to. Max Domi, a huge acquisition on that second unit. Excuse me. David Riddick coming in at 84. Like I said, and then there is Talbot at 81. So Pretty equal when it comes to goaltending. We might have the slight edge because of our backup. We definitely have them beat when it comes to defense, and I think we have them beat when it comes to offense. We definitely have them beat when it comes to top six, but they're pretty well spread out. So that's just a quick look there at the Vancouver Canucks. Like I said, the records speak for themselves. When you look at the lineups, you can understand how we finished first in our conference and division, how they just squeaked into the playoffs. We have a much stronger team on paper, so now we need to ensure that we carry that into the playoffs. Obviously, like we realized last year, it doesn't matter how good of a regular season you had and how strong of favorites you are, because that's the same case with the Colorado Avalanche last year, where they came in and beat us in 5 games to eliminate us in the first round, winning only just 1 playoff game for the Calgary Flames last season. So we obviously have to avoid that. This was a show me in April type of season for Calgary. Obviously, it didn't matter what we did in the regular season. We did defend our Pacific Division title, now winning back-to-back Pacific Division championships, but now we have to get it done in the postseason. So let's get right into it. Let's get right up to Game 1 in Calgary. Again, you saw our lineup. We're going to stick with our same lineup that we finished the regular season with. Definitely no reason to change that at all. We're going to go real-time sim for the Stanley Cup playoffs here. So we will speed it up, though, to 8. And here we go. Game 1 from the Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary. Flames and Canucks. It's another Pacific Division rival between these two teams. Lots of history, obviously, between Calgary and Vancouver, especially in the first round, the Stanley Cup playoffs, like we said, 2015, 2004. Some really good years for the Flames in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And there's our first playoff goal of the postseason. Rasmus Andersson coming in and beating Jacob Markstrom. That's what you want to see. Let's get to resume here. That's this button. There we go. I just had to see what button it was. So second period here. We are on the power play for the first time. Then they get an abbreviated power play. We don't score, but we also kill off the PK. 24 shots already on net for the Flames. There's our second goal of the game and of the playoffs. Michael Backlund. Good to see some depth scoring coming in there for us. I guess Backlund's still in our top 6, though. Backlund getting the goal for the Flames in the second period, so 2-0 through 40. Let's get to the third period here of Game 1. Yeah, we already have 32 shots on Markstrom. Again, we're going to want to try and put as many shots as we can, because like I said, their defense is weak and they are struggling with goals against. So the more we can put on net, the better of a chance we might have at winning this series. So 4 minutes to go here in game number 1. Flames up by 2. And there's Max Domi sealing the deal. Likely an empty netter. His first postseason goal for the Calgary Flames. I forgot to look at his... We looked at it in the last video. It's not going to matter now. But we did look at what he did in the final regular season. I believe he almost won a point a game there in the regular season since coming over for us. We can even look at him, or I guess we can't on this screen. But we'll look at it after. So there it is. That second line playing really well. Obviously, Backlund got a goal and an assist. Kachuk an assist. Domi a goal. So that second line a +2. Rasmus Andersson, really strong game as well. I just want to see who led us with ice time here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Brody and Giordano. They finished as a +1. Domi up there led us in among forwards. I'm really struggling today. Johnny Gaudreau up there. 18 minutes, 46 seconds. Sean Monahan. They don't register a point, but all the scoring getting done pretty much by the second line there and Rasmus Andersson. And David Riddick goes 24 saves for the playoff shutout in Game 1. So not bad. Not a bad, obviously, start to the Stanley Cup playoffs. 16 wins is the goal. We now have 1 down, 15 to go. But not a bad start. But you'll remember last year, like I said, against Colorado, Game 1, we beat them 4-1 at home in Calgary. It looked good. In Game 2 is when they started to turn it around and really come at us, and then obviously ended us in 5 games. They won 4 straight, the Avalanche did. So we have to avoid that, obviously. We need another strong performance here in Game 2, coming off a 3-0 shutout. We're obviously going to keep the same lineup. Let's go right into the game number 2 from the Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary. Game number 2. There we go. And an early goal for us, just 4 shots into the game. Andrew Mangiapane striking, beating Markstrom. So obviously that's what you want to see. More scoring, the better. And that's some depth scoring, some much needed depth scoring. There's a power play goal. It looked like it came on a 5-on-3. Johnny Gaudreau gets the first power play goal of the postseason for us, and his first point, it looks like, of the postseason. And then the Canucks finally get in this series for the first time. Troy Stecher finding the back of the net for the Vancouver Canucks in that first period. And now they've tied it here to start the second. Brock Besser, his first of the postseason, beating David Riddick. So our 2-0 lead has quickly evaporated at the end of the first and beginning of the second here. Need a strong pushback here, a strong response. Vancouver is fighting, but we have to push back here. The Calgary Flames, tight second period here. We're up 21 shots to 15 after 40. A huge third period here for the Flames. We can't give them any life in this series at all because, like I said, we know what happened last year when we gave that to Colorado in Game 2. So here we go, Flames. Come on, we need a strong third period here. Another power play. Ooh, our power play is struggling in the postseason. We have just scored once on the power play, and that came on a 5-on-3 in this game. We want to be seeing a little bit more out of our power play. This one is tight. We might be going to overtime. We are. So we're going to postseason overtime, full periods here. Let's go to period number 1 of overtime. Flames and Canucks. Winner will take this. This will be a huge... If we can get this, this will be huge. Put us up 2-0 going back to Vancouver. If they get the 1-1 split, that gives them so much life. Come on, Flames. This is such an important goal right here. Oh, and they got a power play to start overtime. And we score. I don't know if that came shorthanded. It did. Michael Backlund, his second of the series, is a shorthanded goal. In overtime, how many minutes in there? Just about 2 minutes in, 4 minutes in. I couldn't see what the time said there. So not long into overtime, we get a shorthanded goal from Michael Backlund. That's insane. Wow. Okay, we will take that, obviously. So Tkachuk gets a point. Anderson, another point for him. Gio, Mangiapane, Monahan, Gaudreau, and onward. But Michael Backlund, the overtime winner for us. 9-1-7, pretty good night there for David Riddick through 63 minutes and 10 seconds. So we play 3 minutes and 10 seconds of overtime. And Michael Backlund with a shorthanded goal. So that's huge. Like I said, to go up 2-0 back to Vancouver, that gives us a little bit of breathing room in this series. But again, it's still very close. We're only up 2-0. If we can get this 3-0 series lead here, that will be huge for us to give us breathing room. Just a quick look there in the West. 2-0 Ducks over the Oilers. 1-1 between the Stars and the Wild. 1-1 between the Jets and the Avalanche. So we will keep the lines the same. Coming off that 3-2 win in overtime. In Game 2 as we head into Rogers Place in Vancouver. Excuse me, Rogers Arena. I always get those two mixed up, Edmonton and Vancouver. So here we go. Game number 3 from Van City. Flames and Canucks. We need to take a stranglehold on this series. They get one from Louis Eriksson, who's playing defense for them for some reason on the third pairing. So I did not guess that Eriksson would be scoring for the Vancouver Canucks. We do have 15 shots on net so far in this first period, but we can't solve Markstrom. 17 shots now, there's 6 shots. So that was a strong period by us, it looked like, judging by shots, but they're the only ones that find the back of the net in this one. Second period, here we go. Flames, Canucks. Come on, Calgary, where's our offense gone? We need more out of our top 6 too. We just have Johnny Gaudreau. Michael Backlund has scored twice in this series, but Johnny Gaudreau, the only member of that top line that has scored. We need more from Monahan, Lindholm, Max Domi, and Tkachuk. Okay, nothing through 40 minutes of play. This is where I wouldn't mind the coach just tweaking the lines a little bit here in game. Obviously, we can't do that in a simulation, but hopefully they're doing that in game. We do have 26 shots on goal. Like I said, we're getting the shots. We just need to start beating Markstrom here. Huge third period, Calgary. Come on, fight back here. Down 1-0 in this game. Anybody's game here. They got a power play. We kill it off. Our PK has been perfect this postseason. There it is. Huge goal from Johnny Gaudreau. About the halfway mark, Johnny Gaudreau ties his hockey game up, his second of the series. Come on, Flames, take the lead now. Take the lead 2 minutes ago. And they got a late power play. And we're going to overtime. Second straight game, the Flames and Canucks are going to overtime here in game number 3. Again, if we score here, we take a 3-0 series lead. They get life if they score here. Huge period here for the Flames, or overtime, I should say. And they're going to start on the power play. We kill it off. Now we need to use that momentum, and we do. Massive overtime winner from Derek Ryan. All right, we'll take it. So we do have a 3-0 stranglehold on this series. Obviously what you want to see. Giordano Brody leading us again in ice time. Backlund leading us among forwards. Lindholm picking up his first point, it looks like, of this series. Johnny Gaudreau picking up his second goal. I don't know if Sean Monahan's had a point yet in this series. But again, we're getting the job done. We're up 3-0 right now. And just looking at Riddick, 9.55. So Riddick's been excellent to start the Stanley Cup playoffs for us. One shutout and has averaged, I don't know what his average is so far, but he's been really good. All right, so let's go into Game 4 here. Again, things going really well for us right now. 2 of the games, though, coming in overtime. So it's not like we're blowing out the Canucks, even though we do have a 3-0 lead in this series. It's not like we're blowing them out of the water. They've been close games. Actually, they've all been 1-goal games. They actually, no, they haven't. The game 1 was 3-0. What am I talking about? But still, they've been close games. 3-0 is not a huge lead on, or not a huge difference in score. And then they obviously Game 2 and Game 3 in overtime. So there's Michael Backlund, his 3rd goal of the series already. He is obviously staying hot so far in this one. That's what you want to see. Is certain players getting hot. Johnny Gaudreau has 2 goals, but Michael Backlund now leading the way with 3 goals in this series. Can we eliminate the Vancouver Canucks here in game number 4? Let's find out. 1 period in the books. Flames up 1-0 with 10 shots on goal. Here we go, 2nd period. Another goal from the Flames. This one is Michael Frolik. So he got bumped down to the 3rd line when we added Max Domi, and Frolik getting us some valuable depth scoring. That was the huge thing that we probably didn't talk about a lot when we acquired Domi, is the fact that not only did Domi give us a strong 2nd line winger to play with Backlund and Kachuk, even though he's a natural center, but the fact is that it made Frolik drop down and give us a strong 3rd line winger. So it was an addition, a double addition there, if you will, adding a Domi and bumping down Frolik. We get goals in this period from Noah Hannafin. They get one from Bo Horvat. They're trying to claw their way back in this series. 6 minutes to go, and they have made it a 1. Calgary native Jay Beagle. Oh, we get the empty netter. Derek Ryan, his 2nd of the series, and the Calgary Flames have swept the Vancouver Canucks in 4 games. So that's what you want to see anytime we can bring out the brooms in the postseason. That is huge. Brody Giordano again leading us the way, leading us in ice time among defensemen. Domi, Backlund leading us among forwards. So you know what? That 2nd line has been getting a lot of ice time in this series. We'll just take a quick look here. 9-2-0 for David Rigg. So pretty solid through 4 games for Big Save Dave. So we sweep. Looks like, just looking here, 3-0. The Ducks could sweep the Oilers, which means we will be playing the Anaheim Ducks. There's a very good chance right now, unless the Oilers can claw back from 3-0 down. We might be playing the Ducks here pretty soon. The Stars up 3-1 on the Wild. 2-1 are the Avs on the Jets. It's a tie series there between Boston and New York. Boston, of course, the President's Trophy winning team. Florida 2-1 on the Sens. 2-1 on the Flyers. 2-2 between Pens and Caps. So every series pretty close except for the 2 in the Pacific Division where we swept the Canucks, and the Ducks are on the brinks of sweeping the Oilers. So we might keep this episode short and get into the next episode with round 2. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll keep this as a pretty short episode here, and then get into round 2 in the next one. I just want to see how we did there in the first round. Again, really well. I'm not even going to look at team stats. I just want to look at our player stats really quickly. Giordano, 5 points there to lead the way. So that's the thing we didn't see when we're doing the same, as we don't see who get the assists. So Mark Giordano actually leading us with 5 points through 4 games, +6 rating there. Michael Backlund led us in goals, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points for him in 4 games. Derek Ryan surprisingly had a good series there against the Canucks, 3 points for him, including the empty netter that sealed the deal in Game 4. 3 points for Kachuk, so he's getting the job done, obviously playing with Backlund. Gaudreau, just 2 goals in that series for Johnny Gaudreau. Michael Frolik, 2 points. Anderson, 2 points. Domi, 2 points. Brody, Mangiapane. I just want to see where Monahan was here. Monahan just 1 point through the series, but did finish as a not in the minuses, so that's a good thing there. So just wanted to look there. Lindholm did not pick up, or Lindholm did. He picked up 2 points there. Elias Lind. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at plus minuses. He picked up 1 point at a +2 rating. So the top line struggling a little bit. Johnny Gaudreau just 2 goals. Lindholm, Monahan just a point each. But that second line really took over in that series for us against the Canucks. Again, speaking to a little bit of our depth, especially in our top 6 there. Anytime you can have depth between your top 6 and your bottom 6, that is huge. So let's just sim up day by day here and see if it is in fact the Anaheim Ducks who we play in the second round here. AHL season complete. So we will just keep simming up day by day. It looks like it is the Anaheim Ducks. Looking at the right screen there. The rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs, though, still going on. No other series has been decided other than the two in our division. So Calgary, Anaheim, once again in the playoffs. We'll see how we match up against Anaheim. It should be a lot different than the last time we saw them in the postseason in 2017. So hopefully we have the upper edge on the Ducks this time around. We're almost a full week since we played Game 4 and swept the Canucks. This is much needed rest. Luckily, we didn't have any injuries, so if we did, though, it would have been some good time to allow players to rest a little bit. So we are almost a full weekend. It looks like the Avalanche and the Stars both prevailing in their series, so we'll be Colorado, Dallas there in the second round, Anaheim, Calgary in the second round, Colorado, Dallas, and then it looks like the Panthers beat the Sens, the Caps beat the Pens, the Bruins, and I'm just waiting for that screen to go back. There we go. The Bruins and the Rangers tied at 3, and the Flyers. So we're just waiting on the Bruins and the Rangers. The Bruins winning the President's Trophy could possibly be going home, and it looks like they are staying. The Boston Bruins will play the Florida Panthers, and we will play the Anaheim Ducks in round 2. So, just looking here. Yep. So there it is. Dallas, Colorado. Like I said, Calgary, Anaheim, Washington, Philly in the East, and Boston, Florida. So what we will do is we'll end this episode here. We're keeping it really short. We'll jump right. I'm struggling today anyway. We'll jump right into episode 7 with round 2 against the Anaheim Ducks. But the Calgary Flames start the postseason off much better than they did last year. They sweep the Vancouver Canucks to win the playoff series and move on to round 2. We need a really deep run this year if we are going to have any shot at pleasing our fans, because like I said, the Calgary Flames proven that they are elite contenders every regular season. Now we just got to make sure we're starting to get some postseason victories here and getting some run, the job done in the postseason, I should say, as we eventually obviously want to win the Stanley Cup. The goal is still to win the Stanley Cup this year. It's not like I want to make it to rounds 2 or 3 or even the finals and then get eliminated. You want to win the Stanley Cup, but if we're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year, we have to at least show that we are super close to winning the Stanley Cup. But we will end this episode here, a really short one here for episode 6, and we'll get into episode 7 against the Anaheim Ducks.